How would I execute a fashion shoot only using softboxes and continuous light? My name is Abdulai Sesay, and Godox recently gave me this challenge featuring their Godox UL Softboxes. Now, normally, I use a mix of bare bulb, hard reflectors, optical spots, parabolic reflectors, and roll diffusion, but in this instance, we are going to focus on just using softboxes for a fashion shoot. I'll be using 5 lights, but also just down to 1. So let's jump right into a 5-light setup, which is just one of many in this video. If you get catalog, e-commerce, lookbook fashion shoots where the brief calls for all white high-key background, this first look is exactly that. Here are a few of the final images. Now let's take a look at what each of these softboxes is doing in this shoot. First, we have our main light, which is the 60cm Octa. Using this small Octa with a grid, we are really able to control spill on the background as well as give the appearance of a harder light source. If we didn't need to see the entire dress, and I was shooting a moodier portrait, I would be happy using just this light all by itself. But now, adding the 180cm Octa as a light directly behind the camera, I removed the outer diffusion to gain about a stop of light, and found that just using the inner diffuser and the deflector plate gave me a very soft source with a bit more punch. In this photograph, you can see that brings up the shadows and gives a nice catch light in the eyes. But we keep the shape of our main light overhead. Next, we add the 30 by 90cm strip behind our model, boomed out over the background. This light provides a more 3-dimensional effect. So now let's add in the background lights for a clean white background with a very even transition from the background to the floor. Now, I pre-metered all my lights using a mix of Godox Lightmon 600 bicolor and RGB lights, with the lights hovering around 100% except for the 60cm Octa with the grid directly over the model's head. Just a note, the bicolor lights are about 2/3 of a stop brighter than the full RGB lights, so I put those two on my background just to give me a little bit more control. And here again, you can see what each light is doing individually. Here's the main light, the fill light, the accent lights, and the background lights. I was easily able to also get 2 additional lighting setups. For the first one, I simply turned off my background lights, and now you see I have a slightly gray background, and I was able to pick up these images. Then, by turning my fill light into the main light, for this, I simply changed my exposure from f8 to f4, turning all my other lights off, and now I have this really nice 1-light shoot. I really love how flexible this setup was and how I was able to quickly just turn lights off to get those 2 additional looks. I also have another lighting setup dialed into my Godox app, just ready to go. My main light stays the same at 5600 Kelvin, and I added a cold green to my fill light and adjusted my hair light to 2400 degrees Kelvin for this setup, giving us a completely different look in just moments without having to gel a single light. If your client doesn't like what the overall lighting looks like and they want things changed and ask, how can we change it to get the image to be a little bit more dramatic? Adding in some color is a real easy way to make your images a bit more dynamic. Here is what it looks like first with just the main light, then the fill light, and finally our warm accent light. Now for a common question I get is, what is the difference between, let's say, a 60cm Octa and a 180cm Octa? Here, you can see the difference between the 60 and the 180 softboxes, both with grids, from the exact same light position. With the 60, the shadow on the floor is more defined, and the 180 softbox completely changes the shadow brightness under the model's chin and face. Seeing the difference the 180 made, I incorporated it into our original setup, adjusted our hair light to 10,000 Kelvin to give it a little bit more of a silvery look, and now I have a softer variation of our original setup. Going to the 180 as our main light harmonizes the main light with the fill light a lot more. And I really love the difference we get when turning the background lights back on for these images. These softboxes were really designed for beginners in mind. You get a deflector, an inner baffle, an outer baffle, and grid included with each softbox. Plus, you can get an additional edge mask for many of the larger sizes, which gives you a large ring light effect like you see here, giving you a unique catch light in the eyes. These softboxes are perfect for photographers and videographers just starting out. If there is a softbox size that you've always wanted to try, they pretty much make it. Currently offering 4 rectangles, 3 squares, 5 octas, and 2 strip banks. I have not had them long enough to speak to the durability, but the 180cm size will be added to my personal lighting kit, as its size, weight, and quick setup are simply difficult to beat. Honestly, I have not found another that compares to its size anywhere close to this. I hope you're able to try some of these lighting setups yourself, because honestly, I would consider these to be some of the most budget-friendly softboxes on the market today.